We're going to talk about pretty much what your entire business system needs to look like so that your revenue comes out the way you want it to come out. I like to look at everything in business in a linear platform, and then I look at what the touch points are in that horizontal line from getting the customer's attention all the way to getting repeat business from that customer or a referral from that customer. Quality control is where I find that we have the biggest opportunity in our markets to be able to overcome. And honestly, this is what over time is going to allow you to reduce your marketing spend, because your referrals, if you're asking for them, are going to be able to leap off of this quality control portion. Most businesses focus on more leads and they forget this chain. And then what happens is they're wasting just a bunch of money on leads because they're dropping out of the process. You got to have measurable KPIs. You need to be able to see what their actions are and what those actions are producing, so that they know that they're doing good. If they don't know what they're supposed to achieve, then they're going to burn out, and then you're going to lose someone. I'm overseeing this, and I'm looking at my videographer that's building all of the social content, the copy that they're putting out, to make sure we're using keywords, to make sure the content is hitting the things that we want to hit. The problem is we don't oversee those multiple channels, so they don't produce at the level they should. And if you're selling prices over the phone 100%, they are building value before they give a price. Otherwise, they are cashiers, and you don't need cashiers answering the phones, because then it's just a price objection. There's no value built. This is what I've been working on over the last 2 years, is really understanding the clarity of what they own. Another way to say it is, what are you producing today for the company? And then I want to know what my ROI is. Me personally, if I'm looking at a 10-to-1 ROI. So every dollar I spend, I need $10 back. Google Ads can get extremely expensive, especially if you have someone that's not managing it on the negative keyword side. So you start doing the math, it takes a lot of the emotion out of it. Cost per lead, that's going to be your total spend, and to get that lead in the door. And then cost per book job. This is really what matters to me, and this is what should matter to you guys. You want to know how much money you spent to get that job on the board. So for instance, in our windshield business, I would pay over 10% to get a customer in the door, because I know I'm going to replace windshields on that customer's fleet over and over and over again. If you are handling your phone right now, you're probably missing calls. And you would probably fire yourself if you were the CSR. So you need to consider, even if you still control your phone, this is a CSR's position and they should not be missing calls. He says the lead is sacred. I love that statement, because it sure is, because that's what most people need but don't have enough of. If it's coming in from a form lead, there needs to be an extremely fast response. Speed to lead is what they call it, because these people are in the moment of wanting, and we get distracted very quickly in life. It's easier to sell a monthly payment than it is a $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 ticket. At the end of the day, my biggest pet peeve is making sure that my customer had a 5-star experience. They Googled and they said, we called you because you had the best reviews. We read your reviews and they were amazing. You had the most 5 stars. It goes a very long way, and Google will push you up the algorithm because you are seen as trusted. So speed wins the cash flow game. Some of you guys have some cash flow problems, and it's probably because you're not getting deposits on the front end to cover the cost of goods sold. You're not billing as soon as you're done with the job. Think about a bank. Bank's not loaning you money for 0 interest. So why would you loan your customers money for 0 interest? You're in the business to get paid. So the longer that you're waiting on your money, the longer you're giving them an interest-free loan, is what this boils down to. Close rate, obviously you don't want to be wasting leads. The leads are sacred. So we may need education on sales if our close rate's dropping. Look, when I started roofing, I didn't know what the hell my gross profit was going to be. So I just started testing. And this is how the entrepreneur runs. You just start testing stuff. And then after you get a sample size, you can make some educated guesses. So go out there and gunsling it if you got to, get some testing in. And I picked the phone up and start calling. And they had notes of we couldn't get in touch with them. And the only thing they did was call and left a voicemail. But I would call, then I'd double call, then I'd send a text message, and I'd send an email. When it's your money affecting your income, you're going to respond differently. Reduce your anxiety. Money's coming in. Revenue solves all problems. Communication, at the end of the day, I will always say it, is probably the #1 reason why things fall apart because it's a lack of. So here's what you should be doing: structure and ownership. And when you track this, you start working on data and not emotions, not opinions. And this is why I stay so stressed out, because I'm responsible for all of it. And if you're $1 million company, it's going to have a ton of leaks. But your responsibility as the business owner is to start plugging the leaks as you're growing, and you can have more revenue to hire people to help you plug those leaks.
Sometimes we have a tendency to feel a little bit bad for being too assertive with somebody and having too high of expectations. No, do it. They can likely rise to the occasion.
When you start running the business off of data and expectations, clear expectations and data, those conversations are not awkward anymore because they're not emotionally driven. It's not opinion-based driven. It's not, oh, they're playing favoritism, or they must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Like, the numbers truly just tell the story, and you're just asking questions around the reporting.